Hi everyone, so today I'm going to tell you about Uttara. Uttara, in part 1 you saw that she was this girl in her early teens, the daughter of Virat, who got married to the powerful Arjun's son Abhimanyu. Let's come to part 2 now. Uttara is already married to Abhimanyu, 6 months into her marriage. And they are having a wedding which is, I would say, eventful, because right after her marriage, Abhimanyu is busy into the Kurukshetra war, the strategizing and the plans and the various moves. Abhimanyu is completely busy in terms of thinking about the Kurukshetra war. One day, suddenly, Abhimanyu is summoned urgently by Yudhishthira. Abhimanyu is told that, well, Arjun is not there and the Kauravas have formed the Chakravyuha. The Chakravyuha is this soldier, these warriors of the Kauravas who form this ring, which is very, very difficult to get into. Abhimanyu knew how to make a foray into this ring. So, of course, Abhimanyu readily agreed. Abhimanyu is a very, very, very valiant warrior. So, he wields his sword and he has his bows and he has his arrows, and he slowly gets inside the Chakravyuha. Fights a very valiant battle. But well, Abhimanyu did not know how to come out of the Chakravyuha. And because he did not know how to come out of the Chakravyuha, the problem was simple. He was very, very tired. And as he grew more and more tired, the arrows started coming from everywhere. And slowly, Abhimanyu died a very, very, very brave warrior's death. Uttara, the young little girl, was married to Abhimanyu, and now after 6 months, she has lost him. There's a very painful account that Gandhari gives about Uttara's state. Gandhari says that in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where mothers are crying over the mangled bodies of their sons, where wives are completely aggrieved seeing the mutilated bodies of their husbands, here was Uttara, looking at her husband intently, the dead body of her husband, which was absolutely intact, and trying to wake him up. Uttara was telling him that, wake up, it's me. Isn't it that in spite of all your busy schedule, you would immediately have a smile when you would hear my voice? I'm right in front of you. Isn't it that when you would touch me with so much of tenderness? I'm sitting in front of you. Why are you so cold? And there are two sides of this. So, the Mahabharata has been told in different ways. Different people say it in different ways. There's one line of thought which goes that Uttara had tried to jump into the funeral pyre with Abhimanyu itself, and Krishna had told him don't. Krishna had told her don't. And then later on Uttara realizes that she was pregnant. However, the one that I have read said that Uttara said her final adieu to her husband and slowly walks into the palace. And she is the one who became extremely calm. Her mother-in-law Subhadra was absolutely beside herself with grief. She was extremely angry with everyone. Draupadi could not even understand how could this happen. Draupadi was too busy trying to take a hold of the situation, because the Kurukshetra war was seeing too much of bloodshed. But Uttara was calm. Maybe because she was pregnant. Maybe she knew that she had to hold herself together because of the baby that is going to be born very soon. Nobody knew, but she was very, very calm. But well, for Uttara, nothing was very easy, nothing was very simple. There was one man called Ashwathama. Ashwathama, the son of Drona, who was suffering, who was dealing with his own demons. He was really, really angry because his father Drona was killed. So he wanted to avenge his father's death. And he was so angry that he wanted to finish the Pandav line forever. That nobody in the Pandav's line would be alive. So what he did was that in the enemy camp, he slowly, surreptitiously, he went inside the enemy camp and killed all 5 of Draupadi's sons. So the next generation was killed. Ghatotkacha, Bhim's son, was already killed. 5 sons of Draupadi were killed. Abhimanyu was already killed. There was no one left to carry on the Kuru line. But look at Ashwathama. His anger completely took over him. He decided that he had taken this oath that no, he is going to see to it that everyone in the Pandav line would be killed. So, what he did, even telling you makes me feel kind of, I don't know, every time I read this part, it gets to me. So, he decided that he is going to aim the famous Brahmashir. It's a weapon. He is going to aim the famous Brahmashir on the womb of Uttara. And he does that. And it immediately does not have any effect. But the effect happens when Uttara gives birth. When Uttara gives birth, she gives birth to a stillborn baby boy. And there was no hope. There was just no hope. This girl, some say that she was just a 13-year-old girl, who was this girl who played with dolls, who loved colors, who got married to this great warrior, and from the way she was crying in front of her husband, one could make out that she had a very passionate relationship with him. She was about to give birth, and now it was a stillborn baby boy. But this time her mother-in-law took charge. Her mother-in-law went and told Krishna, "You can't do this anymore. You can't do this anymore. Too much has happened. Now this girl, her little baby boy, you need to breathe life into this one. You have to." Because Subhadra was Krishna's sister. And this time, Subhadra had also taken so much. The women of Mahabharata has taken so much. And this time, Krishna relented. Krishna picks up the little baby boy and breathes life into the baby boy who was called Parikshit. Parikshit, who later on carried on the line of the Kurus. Yes, it was that little Uttara who finally gave birth to the baby boy who became the huge king Parikshit and carried on the generations of the Kurus. So that was Uttara for you. The girl who went through so much but sort of held on. She was strong. So yeah, that's the women of Mahabharata.